Daf Yomi Tractate Zevachim, page 117. It's the last line on 116b, just to get context. The Gemara was asking which of the three camps that were present in the wilderness was not present in Shiloh. Rabbah said it stands to reason that the Levite camp was present, but the Israelite camp was not. As if it enters your mind to say that the Levite camp was not present in Shiloh, now we're on top of 117a with the words Nimtzu, Zavin, U'Temei Mesim, Mishtalchen Chutz L'Machane Achas, V'Torah Amra, V'Lo Yitamu Es Machnehem. It would consequently be found that both Zavim and those who are ritually impure from impurity imparted by a corpse are sent out of one camp, meaning the camp of the divine presence. And both are permitted in the Israelite camp. But the Torah said, with regard to sending the ritually impure out of the camp, outside the camp, you shall put them, that they will not defile their camps. Numbers 5:3. Ten machane lazeh, machane lazeh. The use of plural camps indicates give a specific camp to this group, meaning those who are ritually impure from impurity imparted by a corpse, who may enter the Levite camp, but are forbidden to enter the camp of the divine presence, and give a specific camp to this group, meaning those who are Zavim, who may enter the Levite camp, but are forbidden to enter the camp of the divine presence or the Levite camp. If there were no Levite camp in Shiloh, it would follow that both a Zav and one who is ritually impure from the impurity imparted by a corpse are sent out of only one camp, and there is no distinction between them. Amar le'Rave, Elamai machnis cho'elo yhavei, nimtzu zavim b'tzoyroin, mishtalchin l'makom echad, v'torah amar, b'adod yeshiv, shelo yeshiv tameh achar imo. Rava said to him, rather, what would you say instead? Would you say that the Israelite camp was not present in Shiloh? If so, it would be found that Zavim and lepers are both sent to one place, meaning outside the Levite camp. But the Torah said with regard to the leper, he shall dwell alone. Outside the camp shall his dwelling be. Leviticus 13:46. The word alone teaches that another ritually impure person should not dwell with him. Ela oilam, ela kulat tolazavi. Mailo hayu ela shte machanois leklito. Niklal lemidbar havei konta machane levio. Rather, it must be that actually all three camps are present at Shiloh. And what is the meaning of that which was taught with regard to Shiloh, that there were only two camps? It is with regard to the fact that the Levite camp did not provide refuge to one who unintentionally killed another. The Gemara asks by inference, does this mean that in the wilderness the Levite camp did provide refuge to those who intentionally killed others? In the Gemara replies, yes, and so does Chadash with regard to the verse concerning the cities of refuge. The verse states, and the one who did not lie in wait, and I will appoint for you a place where he may flee. Exodus 21:13. The phrase "I will appoint for you" teaches that God said to Moses, there will be a place that provides refuge for unintentional murderers, even during your lifetime. The term "a place" means that it will be from your place, meaning the Levite camp served as the place that provided refuge in the wilderness. Where he may flee teaches that the Jews would exile unintentional murderers in the wilderness as well before they entered the land. To where did they exile unintentional murderers when they were in the wilderness? They exiled them to the Levite camp, which provided refuge. From here, the sages said, a Levite who killed unintentionally is exiled from one Levite city to another Levite city, and if he was exiled to another area within a city, he is admitted to his city. It provides him with refuge. The Gemara asks, what is the verse from which the principle is derived? That one who was already exiled to a city of refuge and who then killed another person is exiled to another city in the same area. Rav Chadash says at the verse, for in his city of refuge he shall dwell, Numbers 35:28, indicates that he can be exiled to a city in which he was already admitted, as the verse is referring to it as his city, and he shall continue to reside there. Ba'ula Gilgal Tanu Abanan Kol Nidav v'Nidav Hayakrav B'Bama She'en Nidav v'Nidav Ein Krav B'Bama Minchas Nizirus The Mishnah teaches that when the Jewish people arrived at Gilgal, private altars were permitted. The Gemara elaborates. The sages taught in a Braita, any offering that was brought due to a vow or contributed voluntarily was sacrificed on a private altar, and any offering that is neither brought due to a vow nor contributed voluntarily, but rather is compulsory, was not sacrificed on a private altar. Therefore, a meal offering which is generally brought voluntarily, and offerings of a Nazirite which have the status of vow offerings and no one is compelled to become a Nazirite, were sacrificed upon a private altar. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir, and the rabbis say only burnt offerings and peace offerings were sacrificed upon a private altar, not meal offerings or offerings of a Nazirite. Rav Yehuda Omer, Kol shetzio yachim makriven bo'el moed שבמדבר מקריבים בו אל מועד שבגילגל ומה בין אוהל מועד שבמדבר לבין אוהל מועד שבגילגל אוהל מועד שבמדבר לא היו במוס מותרוס אוהל מועד שבגילגל היו בבמוס מותרוס ובמסו שבראש גלבו לא היה מקריב עליה אלא אוהלה ושלומים. Rabbi Yehuda says any offering that the public or an individual could sacrifice in the tent of meeting in the wilderness could also be sacrificed in the tent of meeting in Gilgal. What, then, is the difference between the tent of meeting in the wilderness and the tent of meeting in Gilgal? During the period of the tent of meeting in the wilderness, the private altars were not permitted, and offerings could be sacrificed only in the tabernacle, while during the period of the tent of meeting in Gilgal, private altars were permitted. But even if one desired to sacrifice an offering upon his private altar on his roof, he could still sacrifice it upon it only only burnt offerings and peace offerings. וחכמים אומרים כל שהציבור מקריבים בו אל מועד שבמדבר מקריבים בו אל מועד שבגילגל וכאן מרכוב יחיד אלא ושלמים בלבד. רבי שמעון אומר אף ציבור לא הקריבו אלא פסוחים וחויבו שקבוע להן זמן. Turning to 117b, And the rabbis say, let's see here, and the rabbis say, before that, I'll just read the English again. Rabbi Yehuda says that any offering that a public or an individual could sacrifice in the tent of meeting in the wilderness could also be sacrificed in the tent of meeting in Gilgal. What then is the difference between... Oh yeah, I read this already, but I'll read it again. What then is the difference between the tent of meeting in the wilderness and the tent of meeting in Gilgal? During the period of tent of meeting in the wilderness, the private altars were not permitted, and offerings could be sacrificed only in the temple, while during the period of the tent of meeting in Gilgal, private altars were permitted. But even if one desired to sacrifice an offering upon his private altar on his roof, he could still sacrifice upon it only burnt offerings and peace offerings. The Chachamim אומרים כל שהציבור מקריב בו אל מועד שבמדבר מקריבים בו אל מועד שבגילגל וכאן לא יקרב יוחנן אלוהי לשלומי מלבד. רבי שמעון אומר אף ציבור לא הקריבו אל הפסוחים. And the rabbis say any offering that the public could sacrifice in the tent of meeting in the wilderness could also be sacrificed in the tent of meeting in Gilgal, and here in the tabernacle in Gilgal, and there upon private altars only burnt offerings and peace offerings were sacrificed for an individual. Rabbi Shimon says even the public did not sacrifice every type of offering in the tent of meeting in Gilgal. They sacrificed only paschal offerings. 117b on the top, and compulsory offerings that have a set time to be sacrificed, for example, daily offerings and additional offerings. Public offerings that do not have a set time were not sacrificed upon the great public altar in Gilgal.